Dentists are not well-adjusted people. Charles Edmund Kells was born in New Orleans in 1856. His father was a dentist. His mother died when he was 4 years old. He apprenticed in his father's practice as a teenager and studied dentistry at the New York College of Dentistry, graduating in 1878. While studying in New York, he spent his free time at Thomas Edison's Menlo Park Laboratory in New Jersey. Electricity fascinated him more than almost anything else. He came back to New Orleans thinking about electricity constantly. In 1886, when New Orleans began electrifying its streetlights, Kells tapped into the city's power grid and wired his own dental office, becoming the first dentist in the United States to run an electrically powered practice. From there, the inventions came streaming in for the next 30 years. An electric suction apparatus for removing blood and saliva during procedures, still used in every dental and surgical operatory worldwide. A fire extinguisher, an electromagnetic clock, an automobile starter, a drinking fountain, over 30 patents in total. And then, in November 1895, a German physicist named Wilhelm Röntgen announced the discovery of X-rays. Kells built his own X-ray apparatus. In July 1896, he gave the first demonstration of dental X-rays in America to the Southern Dental Association in Asheville, North Carolina. The moment he began his presentation, word spread through the entire hotel. Guests swarmed the room. Everyone wanted to see the bones in their hands. There was a problem that nobody understood yet. To take each X-ray, someone had to hold the film inside the patient's mouth for the entire exposure. The exposure time was 15 to 30 minutes. Kells held the film himself. Patient after patient, procedure after procedure, his hand in the beam for 15 to 30 minutes at a time. He did this hundreds of times. Nobody knew about radiation protection. The concept didn't exist. In 1908, 12 years after his first X-ray demonstration, Kells noticed a small lesion in his left thumb that wouldn't heal. He went to Johns Hopkins for surgery. It was the first of 35 operations. The lesions multiplied across his hand. Fingers were amputated one at a time. Then the thumb, then the hand. Then in 1926, his 35th operation removed his left arm at the shoulder. Through all of it, he kept working. He crafted down instruments with attachments to fit what remained of his hand. He kept inventing, he kept writing. By 1928, the cancer was spreading to his right arm. He was losing his eyesight. He was in pain. He wrote that he was worried about becoming dependent on others. On May 7, 1928, two of his dental assistants found him lying on a couch in the private office of his clinic. He shot himself. He was 71 years old. He had practiced dentistry in New Orleans for 50 years. In the same year that Charles Edmund Kells died, the first international X-ray safety guidelines were adopted by the International Congress of Radiology. The protective equipment that every dental patient wears today, the lead apron, the thyroid collar, the 2-second digital sensor that replaced the 15-minute film exposure, none of it existed when Kells was holding his hand in the beam. He was one of the many X-ray martyrs of his era. He's considered the father of dental radiology. The book he finished while dying was never published. If you're liking my content so far, please like, subscribe, and comment. It helps me grow my channel. And you get my sincere appreciation for sharing the same curiosity as I do.